Can math really beat the NFL? It's a huge question, right? You've got cold, hard numbers on one side, and on the other, the raw, unpredictable chaos of professional football. Today, we're going to dive into a really cool experiment that tries to answer exactly that.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Football is a game of so many variables. You've got injuries, the weather, a lucky bounce of the ball, pure human emotion. It feels like it should be impossible to predict. So, how on earth could you build a mathematical model to tame all that chaos? Well, it turns out one analyst might have actually cracked the code.
Okay, get this. What if I told you that someone, using nothing but math, predicted the Super Bowl winner 9 times in just 11 years? That's a success rate of over 80%, and a number that mind-blowing, well, that was the spark that ignited a much bigger experiment.
So that crazy success with the Super Bowl got the analysts thinking. It led to this much more ambitious and kind of vulnerable quest. Could this same mathematical logic work, not just for one single game, but for an entire NFL season?
And honestly, this is what makes this whole project so cool. The person behind it is just putting it all out there, week after week, and they're totally open about it. They're basically saying, hey, this is a live experiment. I don't know if it's going to work. It's not about pretending to have a crystal ball, you know? It's all about testing an idea, right out in the open for everyone to see. So the project grew. It went from that successful Super Bowl model to a much bigger, more robust system. And for 3 years in a row now, it's been shockingly accurate at predicting the entire season standings before a single game is even played. We're talking correctly picking 10 out of the 14 playoff teams each and every one of those years. That's pretty wild.
The original model was actually described as the S&P 500 of predictions, which is a perfect analogy, right? Just like an index fund isn't about picking winning stocks every single day, this model wasn't about getting every single game right. Nope. The goal was steady, reliable performance over the long haul, the entire season.
Okay, so for this season's weekly picks, the system is using 3 different mathematical players, and each one has its own unique strategy, its own way of looking at the game.
So first up, we have algorithm A. Let's call it the veteran. This one sticks to what it knows. It's based on the original tested methods, and it looks at 5 full years of historical data. Its whole philosophy is pretty simple. Offense wins championships, so it puts a lot more weight on all those offensive stats.
Then you've got algorithm B, the balanced strategist. It also dives deep into that 5-year data pool, but it's got a different take. It says, hey, wait a minute, defense matters too. So it gives equal weight to both offense and defense for a much more well-rounded view.
And rounding out the team is algorithm C, the in-season rookie. This one's the new kid on the block. It completely ignores all that historical data from the past 5 years and focuses only on what's happening right now. This makes it super agile. It can spot hot streaks and emerging trends that the other, more history-focused models might totally miss.
All right, so we've met our 3 players, but how do we know if they're any good? How do we keep score? What's the actual benchmark for success here? Because it's not as simple as just having a winning record. The standard is way, way higher than that.
To figure out if this thing is actually working, the system borrows its math from professional gamblers. And look, the point isn't to get you to bet on games, not at all. It's about using their standard because, let's face it, that world is incredibly efficient and totally unforgiving. If you can meet their standard for being profitable, then you know you've really got something.
So here it is. This is the magic number. To be considered a success, these algorithms can't just win more than they lose. They have to be right at least 57% of the time. Anything less than that, and you're not actually beating the odds. That's the bar they have to clear.
Okay, so how does all this theory hold up in the real world? Well, week 8 of the season was the perfect test. And it wasn't some clean, easy week, no way. It was messy, it was complicated by last-minute injuries to start players, the exact kind of chaos that forces a system like this to really show what it's made of.
So, this is it, the moment of truth. With all that real-world chaos thrown in, could these purely mathematical models actually hang tough? Did they hit that crucial 57% target?
And the results were pretty amazing. Even after making adjustments for those injuries, every single model cleared that 57% bar. You can actually see there are 2 versions of algorithm B there, just with slightly different tweaks, and they were both successful. One of them, B2, even hit a 9-4 record. That's almost 70% correct for the week. Incredible.
Now, having 4 successful models is obviously great news. But the real power, the biggest takeaway from this whole experiment, came from what happened when they stopped looking at them as individuals and started looking at them as a team.
The big aha moment was this. The most reliable predictions, the absolute highest confidence picks, happened when all the different models, even with their totally different approaches, all agreed on the same winner. They call this a unanimous pick.
Think about it. A unanimous pick is a totally different beast. It's like going to 4 different experts for an opinion, and they all tell you the exact same thing. It's a powerful signal that cuts through all the noise. It says that no matter how you slice the data, one team just has a clear-cut advantage.
And the proof is in the pudding, right? So far this season, when all the models agree, the record for those unanimous picks is an incredible 17 wins and only 6 losses. That's a success rate of almost 74%. It absolutely demolishes that 57% target we talked about.
So this all leaves us with a really fascinating thought to chew on. You know, the analysts who created all this, they still use their own eye test for games. They still trust their gut, their intuition. But the most powerful signal in this entire project didn't come from one single perfect algorithm. It came from the consensus of all of them. So maybe the future of sports analysis isn't really about data versus intuition. Maybe it's not a battle at all. Maybe it's a partnership, where we use data to find those special moments when every single way of looking at a problem all point to the very same answer.